Paper. Okay, and here we go, Anno. Quiet on the set. 1, 2, 3. How you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I am a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California. And I'm really just an average guy who loves to make music. However, when I get behind a microphone, I become the StrongWriter on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. And the way I like to do that is through faith and hope and encouragement, by taking in the stories and experiences told to me by my wonderful guests, just like this one here, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. Now, I want to welcome you to another beautiful day for a fantastic show. And I have been looking forward to this day because I get to talk once again with my buddy who I just met last year during his triumphant reemergence into the music biz. How about that? I'm talking about none other than the man you're seeing on the screen with me, Bob Gentry. He is a talented musical artist and songwriter with a backstory that is tailor-made for the kind of show that I like to do. And following in the path of his debut EP, which was called Back on the Horse, we talked about that before. That was with Blue Elon Records. He still's with them. Bob is dropping his first album with this prestigious label, and it's called Fortune Favors. And it will be ready for the world on September 10th, 2021. That's your intro, Bob. It is an honor to welcome back a Palm Springs legend, Mr. Bob Gentry.
Oh, wow. You really worked on that intro, man. That's a good intro. Makes me want to watch.
Yeah, let's bring in the real guy now. How about we do that?
Yeah, now where's that guy at?
Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm getting to talk with you again, and this is very cool. You're still in Palm Springs. You're at that same piano that we talked to last time.
Oh yeah. It's my crutch. You know, musicians they always have a guitar or something that's their little safety blanket.
Yeah, that's why I got my acoustic electric bass in the back there, and it's gathering dust because I have such a busy life these days, and I love doing this show. And I was telling you earlier, I'm a little stressed out. I had quite a day today. You know, life comes up sometimes when you're trying to get things done. You know what I'm saying? Things happen. Do you ever have to take like a breath? Do you meditate? Do you have a way of blowing off some stress if you ever get that? Or do you have a temper like me? Maybe you don't.
You know, I try to hide it, but I guess I do. I don't mean to. I'm really kind of introverted, and I just keep it all inside. But unless you get to really know, under the shell, then you're like, oh man, tell them to shut up.
I know that's the part we try to hide. Well, I'm introverted too, and that's how I either bottle it up. I guess that's what you call it, but I don't want to explode. But I said to my wife, I said, should I go back outside in the backyard and start, take an axe or a baseball bat to some materials I want to throw out and throw in the garbage, or should I use this energy and do a great show? And I think I chose the right choice by coming in here.
Good.
I said,
just no baseball bats on me, please.
I'll tell you what. I was looking at your release date, and it occurred to me that September 10th. This could mark a healthy beginning for you as a professional artist, in contrast to 20 years ago when you had this band Moisture, and that sort of 9/11, 2001 sort of took. Not only was it a tragedy, but it kind of took out your band, right? That was it. That was kind of the last.
Pretty much took out the band. I mean, not just that, but it just everything changed, and so that was the moment that everything stopped, and I had to everybody stopped. It was another thing. It seems like I only do this when there's like big events, like pandemics and.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well,
I just
do what you need. What feels
I
good
thought
to
the
you.
same thing when we finished the last album. I'm like, oh man, and that last time was 9/11, and now we have COVID. What's
it is kind of weird. I hope we don't have a repeat of that stuff, but I guess through tragedy does come some art, or some kind of expression. Doesn't that seem like that life you had when you were with your? Because your band Moisture came from Detroit. You went to Orange County. You reformed it with some. Yeah. Told me you went to the recycler or something like that and got some dudes.
Yeah.
One of those guys is still with you. Is still your buddy, right? The guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm still friends with all those guys.
Oh, great.
And the guitar player, I have him come out and play sometimes.
That's great.
He teaches at UC Irvine. He's amazing. Really best guitar player I've ever seen ever.
It's good to have friends that you keep, but does that life that you had, does that seem like so many eons ago now to you, or?
Yeah, I kind of put my life in chapters. And I think of, certain markers that, where things change, and, this is a different chapter. This is a new chapter. And right now I'm in a new chapter,
Yeah. Maybe we can give
I think back. I'm really nostalgic. I go back. I mean, we're Facebook buddies. You see, I post all old stuff. And
yeah, sure. It's fun to see the old pictures sometimes,
Yeah. I'm like, who is that? It's me.
Well, you get like now. By the way, happy belated birthday. I know we said it on Facebook. But,
I know.
You've turned. Go ahead. You say it so I don't have to embarrass you.
Yeah, no. I'm proud of it. I'm very glad to be 50. Oh my God. I mean, who would think I'd be doing this at 50?
Yeah. Just be careful. When I turned 50, that was 7 years ago. It's like the warranty expires. Like, you almost need like a car shield version for your body, because that's when things started going south on the end at 50. So be careful with yourself. Okay?
Yeah, my body's falling apart, but there was a time where I wouldn't tell people my age. I'd be like, oh no, I'm not. I was 29 forever. Especially in the music world, they think you have a shelf life, and that's one thing that's nice about what's going on now is like they don't seem to care about that. So
well, thank God for that. I'm glad.
I just hope the rest of the world thinks that.
We'll get to that in a second, because I have major compliments for your new album. I think it's really cool. Something else. But we'll break that down. Can you give us a Cliff Notes version of, like you said, your life is in chapters? You started. I think you told me, or you even wrote this down in your bio or something like that. That by 7 or 8, you started. Playing guitar and writing songs and just to express yourself. Is that true? Like when you were young, when you were a young kid, you were doing this?
There was always music around, and it's funny thing is I don't remember actually learning to play the piano. Like I remember learning to play guitar because, my fingers would be, oh my God, how do I do that chord? Yeah. I remember that, but like the piano, for some reason, I just remember just always knowing it. I don't remember learning
the piano.
Not that I'm some virtual, virtuoso or something. I know chords and enough to write, enough to pluck out a Beatles song here and there.
Yeah, which you like. I'm sure that that sets the bar pretty good, because they used a lot of good polyrhythms and great complex chords. For a rock band, they did pretty well for themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, without that, I wouldn't be playing.
But it changed. Would you say it changed your life? A lot of people say, "Oh, the Beatles changed my life."
Yeah, I just answered one of those things where they ask your favorite stuff, and it actually did.
You know what I'm talking about, because I felt
weird about saying it. I'm like, this is a stock answer, and but it's true. It's like, without the Beatles, I wouldn't be playing. I wouldn't be writing. I wouldn't be wanting to do it.
I'm not lukewarm, but I had to grow into it. I wasn't anti-Beatles, but I never could. It was one of those bands I didn't get why so many people around me were so into them. Like it was almost a religion to them. And I couldn't understand that. But, even my wife was like, I don't get it. We don't even listen to it, but we have appreciation, because as time goes on, you have hindsight and you go like, well, the music, you get that old man thing where you start to, and you try to stay current, there's a lot of things.
Well, production, they did a lot of stuff with production. Wow. That's George Martin. Just amazing stuff. Just amazing. They wouldn't be who they are without that. So.
Yeah, broke the mold. Yeah, they would have. It's got to be a good relationship, though. If they didn't accept his input and his direction and all that stuff, it might not have sounded the way.
Can you imagine? It would just be, I want to hold your hand.
Yeah, it would still be. Rubber Soul was incredible, but it got bigger and bigger as they went along. So. Yeah. Imagine that they were only, as a charting band, they were only in there 6-7 years, and that was it for them. Imagine that's all they did.
I often think about stuff like that too. I'm like, well, God, John Lennon was assassinated at 40, and I'm 50, and look at all what he's done. But I think of you can't help but go down that road sometimes. I try not to, but it makes you feel like you're a little behind.
Yeah, and you were talking about sort of comeback. I know that's probably a misnomer or a cliche to say it's a comeback, like even what you're doing. That Double Fantasy, just before he died, he put together a nice piece of work there, toward the end, and I think that was, and they were still even unearthing recordings from that later on down the road. So it was nice.
I always wonder if some of that stuff would have seen the light of day, though, if he wouldn't have, who knows? It's like they release everything when someone's gone. It's like, oh, we found this under a rock. I got to tell you, that guy would never probably release that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. They're going to release some old cassette tape from me. I did when I was 10.
Just speaking of bands, isn't that you got the news this morning that Charlie Watts had?
I know.
That is, he just dropped out of the tour because of what he was going through. That's the one thing about social media. If you have Facebook or something, you find out just how many people share your love of a certain artist, because there were so many that died. Remember 2016 and 17, there were so many.
Many.
What was it? Natalie Cole, you had David Bowie, you had Prince, you had
it was a whole Sgt. Pepper cover. Yeah. I mean, I think there was a thing where they showed all the people. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That memorandum thing at the end of the Grammys, I think it went on for an hour.
Yeah. Well, people like George Michael, he was becoming a joke, but I was always in his corner, no matter what phase. George Michael, I always thought he was a brilliant
amazing singer.
And then when he died, so many people came out of the woodwork and said he was great, and I said, this is good. It's too bad they didn't say that stuff earlier.
Yeah,
so that you could sort of share that thing. Enough of that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's weird. I mean, the thing about getting older, and here I'm talking about like we're old men. But it's you're not really prepared for everybody going away. It's kind of when you're younger, occasionally people pass away, and you think about it. But all of the things that I grew up watching in my childhood, and the people I idolize, those people are gone. There's a few around, but it's not.
I was beginning to think that was a component of some people, some of my friends' mental health, is that their hearts bled every time one of their idols, and they just kept coming. Another one would be announced that they were gone. So that's one of the things about these new news feeds. Once that breaking news happens, everybody finds out about it at the same time, and they go, "Oh my God, this is a terrible thing." I go, yes, it is. We'll never see them again. But they did leave a legacy of their work that they wanted to put on tape and share with the world. So they got that.
Yeah, I think that might be. I mean, for me, that's kind of one reason I want to do it. I mean, I want to say, hey, listen, I'm here. I was here. I'm going to leave a mark. Even if it's to 10 people. 10 people are fans and they like it, and they look back on it 30, 40 years from now, go, hey, where did this song come from? Hey, it's something. I'll take it.
Just as a thumbnail sketch of your new album, it's called Fortune Favors, and there's no track called Fortune Favors. So what was the intent of naming it that?
Well, it was kind of taken. It was taken from some of the lines, and just it wasn't actual the words, but the saying, fortune favors the brave, the bold.
Bold, yeah.
If you don't take a chance, it's the album has a lot to do with luck. Not luck, but I guess luck. I do believe in you make your own luck. I believe in good luck and bad luck. You make your own good and bad luck.
Yeah.
So if you don't put yourself in those positions to where things can occur. If I didn't move to a place where I could get a deal, I probably wouldn't have one.
Yeah,
they wouldn't knock on my door.
Yeah, there's a lesson in there somewhere, and you do articulate it a couple times during some of the songs you wrote, because it's like, yeah, you can pray, you can roll the dice, and all these things, but if you don't move your feet and get yourself in a position where you're ready for that, to step up to the plate, I like that. One of the things I love about your music is you like to take metaphors and play with them and create a story around that. 20 years to life.
20, yeah.
Perfect example of that. But you continue on that, and I said, this is the kind of stuff that inspires me, because it's the kind of stuff 20 years ago. This is the kind of stuff I was trying to write. I loved to do a story. I had stories about relating success in life being like a piñata. People blindfold you all the time, and you're waving furiously. But one day, if you keep swinging out, you're going to hit that thing, and all the goods are going to come out, and you'll get those riches if you just keep swinging, that kind of thing. And I played with that. Me. Yeah, I was one of those ones I had. Yeah.
I have a good time trying to write something into a metaphor that it really isn't about that, like a Monopoly or something. I'm not singing about Monopoly. I'm singing about something else.
Yeah.
It's just,
a lot of this stuff, I hope it's, you're singing about a girl, because it seems like there's a lot of them that talk about, love and unrequited stuff. And
that's just life.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are my favorite kinds. So I love to do that too.
Yeah.
Let me get back to that in a second. I was just, so I asked you a little bit about, how you started playing music and everything like that. There's sort of a gap in between where you got discovered as a band in there. Did you have a different career path sort of in mind when you went to school? Were you going to go be something completely different than what you turned out to be?
Well, I liked art. I mean, I was very artistic. I like to draw, things like that. But in college, I got totally sidetracked with the bands, and at the time I was trying to support myself and live, so it was tough, but we, the group of guys I hung out with, we were kind of like a family, it was, and it was our band, and the band was my family, It was hard to leave them to go to California,
Yeah. Why did you decide that? Was it like go chase the dream? Things are closer in LA than they are to get things done in Detroit, even though there is a music industry in Detroit.
There's a huge music scene in Detroit. Well, most of it I didn't want to. I love California. When you grow up as a kid watching stuff on TV and you're like, it doesn't snow there. What's going on? In Michigan, it snows like 10 months of the year. I went from one extreme to the other. I went from like extreme snow to like 120-degree weather here. So,
well, there's a possibility in Palm Springs that it could snow. It's done it before, but
it was close. Yeah. We get snow on the mountain, so I'm all happy with that.
That's the nice thing about it. I think that's why so many people are drawn to California, is because you can have all the different elements. If you want to go snow skiing or whatever, go play in the snow. There's a way to go do it. You have to go drive to it. It's not gonna fall on your house unless you happen to live up in those mountains, So,
but I mean, I was like any kid. I saw California and I glamorized it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was, the place you needed to be, either that or New York to succeed in some sort of music industry. So I came out to LA. It was a struggle. I'm not going to lie. It was tough. It was a legitimate starving artist life. I mean, there were times where I'm like, do I buy this new guitar or do I eat? I'm like, I bought the guitar.
Well, in Detroit,
maybe I need to lose that. I need that now.
If you're in Michigan, you probably were starving, but then you decide I'm going to go out to California and take another risk because I know I'll probably do some starving out there too. But you were pursuing something that you thought was worthwhile.
And it was right out of a movie too. I mean, literally, I got to California and about. I looked in the recycler, got some guys to reform my band. We recorded an album that we, did together. And at our CD release party, there was a guy in the audience who worked for a label and he worked for a TV show. And it was like, wait a minute, this is too easy. Why is this coming too easy? Yeah. And, the next thing you know, they put us on TV and then we get a call the next day. They're like, Jimmy Iovine wants to sign you. Like you get a call that says Jimmy Iovine wants to sign you. You're like, okay, is this real? We were jumping up and down. It was just. And
as time goes on, Jimmy is legendary now. You'll see him and you go like he's royalty in the music business still.
Exactly.
So
that's
great.
Oh my God. I mean, and then the 9/11 cap. I don't blame that for everything falling apart, but that was kind of a marker that really made everything stop.
Yeah.
Napster came into effect. People were not, they weren't really selling albums anymore. They were just downloading them.
That took a few years to get past for a lot of people,
And I'm not sure it's still together.
Well, it hasn't. It's never returned to that state where it was, in 98 when people were still buying CDs and cassette singles of everything, or CD singles, and I think they were playing with some more medium to try to.
I avoided Spotify for years and years. I just didn't want anything to do with Spotify. I'm like, I just don't. I'm not making any money on it. I was selling CDs and and now I'm not. I understand that it's getting it out there, and it I'd much rather have people listen to it than not. And it's a double-edged sword. It's good and bad, and people are going to stream it on YouTube. If they want to buy it, then fine. It helps. But
it's a tricky thing. Do you have people in your biz that like with the label or just your own experience? So what did they counsel you on how to, pitfalls to avoid? Like, hey, maybe we best not go with this way, and let's try it this way. It'll make you more, keep you more solvent while you try to do your art.
No, even still, I'm still trying to figure it out. I know the label does their thing, and I think they've got it figured out. But I really think people make their money on touring, touring and merchandise sales. But all that being said, I'm certainly not doing this for money. I mean, it would be nice, but I do it because I want to, and it's an outlet, and it's creative, and I've missed it.
The touring part. You mean getting your,
all of it.
Yeah,
all of it.
And you didn't even really. At the time, you didn't miss it. But in hindsight, I guess you go like, wow, it feels good to actually be back up and doing this all over again.
There are certain things that I don't miss. Like I don't miss begging friends to listen to an album. Like, I don't miss that, but that's all part of it. You go on social media and like, hey, listen to my album. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free to listen to, and still you're like, wait a minute, you have to like, it's not begging, but it's like, oh, come on. This is a struggle.
Well, do you do that? Do you even go to your friends? I almost resolve not to even bother them with it. No, let them come if they're interested. They will, because you can get yourself a following without them, and then they go, hey, look at you guys, we're still friends, but I wasn't going to push you and try to like strain that relationship over like.
I try not to, but unfortunately, I mean, I've kind of backed off of social media just because I just couldn't take it anymore. But I'm still on it. Now the posts are really self-promotion. Not all of them. Once in a while, I'll post a softball picture. But
it's part of the process, the game, or whatever you want to call it. But that's how it.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing because some people I'll see them. They're just as genuine as you are, and yet they have like a humongous following, and I don't know how they do it. Maybe they have some help. Hopefully, they're not having to. I assume it's all organic stuff, and they're not having to go through this cheating process where
there is a lot of that too.
Yeah. I don't know if that's if they're stoking it and then like fake it till you make it type of stuff. We'll get the followers, and they'll see that you have this many people, and that gives you some believability. But it's all artificial in the beginning if you're trying that, I think.
Yeah, some of it's pretty transparent too. You're like, wait a minute, you have 40 subscribers, and yet you have 100,000 streams. How is this possible? I mean,
well, the engagement the engagement is hard too, because you'll see some of these people. You do a comment to one of your favorite artists, and they don't answer you back for anything. Everything's all one-sided. So I like to get involved with some of these artists that are more independent, like you are. You can take the time to slow down and visit with the people, at least online, if you have the time for that.
And once things kind of settle down, I mean, that's kind of what I like to do. Actually, I'd like to get out there, and I'm not. I mean, like I said, I've been out of it for 10 years, so I don't really know what people do anymore. I mean, honestly, I don't want to play in a bar anymore. I don't want to play the Viper Room. I had fun there, but I don't want to play these shows where, it's more about people are getting drunk in the background and they're not there to listen to music. So, for me, what sounds appealing is doing like a house concert, going on a house concert tour or something like that, where I'm actually meeting people and getting to see, go face to face, once I can take a mask off, once they let me in their house.
When I started doing this, it was about 2009. I was starting to meet some people, and I was just learning about just how powerful these house concerts were, and how much. I remember my daughter inviting this one independent artist, and they said, they're charging, upwards of, I don't know, between $300 and $400. You're kidding? Yeah, but they'll, she's an established artist. And she put on a great show, and it was, and the crowd loved them. Her, I mean, the crowd loved her,
and they come to, they'll listen to you. They'll it's not like, you're playing at a club and they're, it's Friday night and everyone's out to, have a great time, and there just happens to be music in the background. I wouldn't mind doing like a supper club thing. I wouldn't mind, doing more listening room things.
Those are cool to do, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. I did some college tours with Rod McEwen, who was a pretty big poet.
Right.
And when I opened up for him, it was a completely different experience that I was ever used to, because I was in my 20s and I was used to the bar scene. And then when I played with Rod, I'd sit there and everybody was completely quiet. And I'd sit there and I'd play a song and people would listen to the lyrics. And then afterwards they'd applaud. I mean, you had this like sense of, wow, this is what it's supposed to be like, not I'm playing my song in the background while you're eating dinner. It was nice. It was a great experience.
You flashed a memory from last time. I forgot about Rob McEwen, that you did that with that. That was impressive to me. I remember last time I go, wow.
Oh yeah.
Rod McEwen. Yeah.
People don't know who he
wrote the Charlie Brown music for the first
Charlie Brown.
Yeah, a boy named Charlie Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote a lot. If You Go Away,
or Gene, and
Gene, yeah.
Oh, tons of great stuff. Yeah, great poet. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I said I was going to try to speed through this, so you didn't have to rehash stuff we talked about. I find your story very interesting, because there's the young Bob that got a band, got a deal, had the usual the band fun and troubles and all that other stuff, and then when it was over with, you decided, how long before you picked up the mantle for yourself and called yourself a solo artist? And that lasted for a little bit before you stopped, right?
Well, that was almost right after, because there was still, when our first deal went away, I had a manager at the time, and the band had a manager at the time, and every label that we did showcases for, they would say the typical thing. Well, we like Bob, but he needs to lose the band.
Yeah.
Come on, really? Just, and it wasn't true. I mean, but it was, I don't know if it was just something that they had to say to be polite about it, or
they had a different vision. They had a different vision of you than you and the other guys did, huh?
Yeah. So when the band was gone, he still shot me to people, and they put me with different songwriters. That's how I worked with Dave Tyson, who wrote Black Velvet. And,
right.
I got introduced to him, and we did some stuff, and it was tough. I did some TV shows, reality shows with Cindy Alexander. She was just on your show not too long ago.
Oh yeah, she's a friend just like you. Yeah, I know you go back probably farther than I ever met her. I met her maybe 7 years ago.
Oh, she was a vicious competitor. Boy, she was. We were like, it was like a poor man's American Idol on the NBC.
Were you on that same show, or you just knew
same
of her?
show? Yeah.
Wow.
She came in first, and I came in second. Whatever.
Okay.
I was the Justin whatever.
That was the Star of Tomorrow or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't go too deep in that, because she's still, I even now I think she's got an NDA where she can't really say everything that happened on that show. Some people on these shows have divulged stuff, but I respect that. But because I don't need to know all the gossip and everything, but it's just interesting when you go on a show, because they still do that stuff to this day. They're doing competitive shows, and
well, I don't have an NDA, so
good. Well, next time we talk, I'll have to. I don't really have any questions about it. Shows.
It was fine. I mean, it was.
I get it. It is what it is, and it's entertainment, to the people watching it. So they, but there's a lot of. Competition's good, but you don't want to lose your confidence in the process. I'm sure that, some people can't handle the heat, when it gets too,
no,
so.
Well, I love Cindy though. I knew she was actually, she helped start the label. So when
that's true,
I got approached, I actually sent her a message. Hey, Cindy, what's going on? And she's like, we were old war buddies,
It's good that you come through the fire and that you can look at each other and smile and go, yep, we were in the same.
Oh, no, we never hated each other or anything. It was all, they put things, it's the internet. It was the beginning of trollism, where people would troll the internet and just put stuff, or like, it was awful. It was fun, but it was like, I'm glad that's over. Oof.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm not I don't like, I despise, I loathe trolling. It drives me insane. I'm more of hey, let's all get along. Cause I see enough backbiting and all that other stuff. So good. But all these chapters, as you were calling them, these stepping stones, it's nice because you meet people like Tyson and some of these other, some other characters. You met Cindy and look where you are now. You have some friends. Hopefully you didn't lose all, along the way, but then maybe they weren't meant to be in your life, but that's, it's just,
I have a lot of regrets.
Thoughts,
I'm not going to lie. I've got tons of regrets. I can second guess everything. I always kind of felt like whenever there was a fork in the road where I could have gone right, I went left, and I should have gone right,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it worked out, but the song, the first single on the album is called "Lonesome."
Yeah,
and it kind of touches on that. It's not a song about being lonesome. It was one of those songs where people were asking me questions like interviews and saying, "Well, what would you tell your younger self?" And that song is word for word what I would tell my younger self.
Cool.
So I wrote it from that point of view. If you listen to it and you're like, hey, I'm telling my younger self this, I'm not telling anyone else. I'm telling me, looking back on it. And
that's what I got out of it. But it's nice that you clarified that it is kind of, you're talking to yourself in this, because it does sound like a 50-year-old guy talking all this. He's learned some lessons over life. Either you're telling this to somebody, who you care about, hey, don't make these mistakes like I did, but if you do,
well, if someone can benefit from it, then fine. But that's not where it was. It was me just saying, looking back in retrospect,
But if you can't actually meet your younger self, somebody else will benefit from that advice,
Well, it's one of those questions that people get asked a lot, and it's actually sitting down and thinking about it. Like, okay, what would I tell my younger self? And that's basically where the song came from.
Have everything you want, but for a price. Read the fine print once or twice. Know the things you do in life have a consequence sometimes. Be careful who you trust, know where they're at. Hope the ones you love will love you back. You're lucky if you have someone like that. Find a love who makes you laugh. Anytime you fall, just bounce right back. Climb back on the horse when it comes in last. Try to stay the course, don't get off track. Don't let little things distract. Don't be lonesome. Don't be scared to just go it alone. Stand your ground. Don't forget to admit when you're wrong. Grab everything you want before it fades. Know that time can slip away. Try to live and learn from your mistakes. Moments that you have, appreciate. Have a look around and take some stock. Keep both feet on the ground when they inflate you up. Know when you should walk away and stop. Or to give it all you got. Anytime you fall, just bounce right back. Climb back on the horse when it comes in last. Try to stay the course, don't get off track. Don't let little things distract. Don't be lonesome. Don't be scared to just go it alone. Stand your ground. Don't forget to admit when you're wrong. Don't be lonesome. Don't be scared to just go it alone. Stand your ground. Don't forget to admit when you're wrong.
That's what I like about a lot of, especially when you write songs. I like how you can take something and you'll write it out until you can get, you'll take it from A to Z rather than my method where I'll take an idea from A to J and then stop and then go. I think maybe and then I'll go to another thing. So yeah, I'm not as focused. Maybe I'm not seeing the picture for what it really is. Does it do some of these things that you work on? Do you make sure that you care enough to put every word exactly where you want it in the song? Like in the case of Monopoly, you had to think that out a little bit, right? Think of certain elements.
But that was I actually had that song for a long time. I wrote that. I started it probably 20 years ago.
Really?
And it was just fun. I thought it was kind of. I'm like, this might be too hokey. Like I don't want to sing about Monopoly. People might think that it's actually about that, but no,
it does. When you listen carefully to it, you don't get that idea at all. You just go, oh yeah,
okay, good.
You're being, at least I don't, I'm not saying I'm the brightest bulb in the batch here, but
it was tricky though. I mean, I really had fun writing it. I'm like, there were times where I left out some things too.
I know what you're saying. Did you?
How can I put the house payment in there? I thought.
I know. I know. I was thinking you left out a few things. Yeah. I love your community chest.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. There were things that I took out.
Your luxury tax took me out, or something like that. But I like, I like how you did all the other things. You didn't crowbar everything. As like you say, the railroad, sold my railroad. But hey, whatever you did, it worked. At least, and I think, I don't know what your feedback, because you just released that as a single or a video or something like that. Yeah,
just came out. It's so far it's been fun. I mean, people seem to think it's clever. I hope it's clever. I don't know.
I landed on your hotel. You had it all than it seemed, and I didn't know you too well. But you said I could stay there for free. So I hung my hat on your shelf. You took a chance helping me. I didn't treat you too well, but you never stopped loving me. All through the game, you should have won, but I kept you holding on to me, with hopes I wouldn't cheat. Do you think I can change? Do you think I'm the one? Do you wanna share boardwalks fun with me through your Monopoly? You drove your car by the jail, gave your free parking to me, but I've only one railroad to sell. You chose to ride it with me all through the game. Go more than once, rolled what side I'm on to be the one who always cheats. No, 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 no. Do you think I can change? Do you think I'm the one? Do you wanna share boardwalks fun with me through your monopoly? I landed on your hotel. You had it all, then it seemed. And I didn't know you too well. You said I could stay there for free.
Since we've been talking about the album, it's called Fortune Favors. Bob Gentry's new album comes out in September. I've listened to it a couple times because I just think it's that good. It's one of these ones that I go, this is the kind of stuff that inspires me. It's the kind of stuff that I wish I was writing, because you and I have a very similar
best compliment,
a very similar thought process. But then, and then later on, like maybe the third time I'm listening to it, then I'm getting pissed off because I'm going like, well, it sounds so easy that this guy is just writing all this brilliant material. And then Dave
easy.
Darling's production, it sounds golden. And I just don't. And then I go like, damn. I wish I could get a hold of a decent producer that would make me sound like this,
No, Dave's incredible, man. And I'm not just saying that, but he's like, the Back on the Horse EP and the Fortune Favors LP, it actually was all recorded at basically the same time.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Except for 2 songs. And the only reason I did those 2 was because originally we had a full album, and I think the full album was going to be, they were going to weed out some songs. They're like, hey, we got too many tracks. But then they did the EP, which was Back on the Horse.
Mm-hmm.
And then now when it was time to do the album, we were short a couple songs. So Kirk says, hey, why don't you go back in with Dave and do a couple more songs? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. You don't have to ask me twice.
What were those 2 songs that they needed?
The 2 songs I sent over Monopoly.
Really?
And that was the one I'm like, well, I kind of got this in my back pocket. Let's see I like it. I really like to have Dave's touch on it to see what he does. And it was just fun and quick and.
Yeah. Well, always good to check your pocket. Make sure that you have something in there.
Yeah.
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 You never know who's going to like it, because you might say that. Now, I'm not saying that you didn't like Monopoly when you did it, but who knows? Well, maybe somebody else will look at it and go, that's great. Why haven't you done anything with this?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I had a friend who kept saying, she was like, yeah, that's nice. I'd play her new songs, and she's like, well, what about that Monopoly song that you played for me 20 years ago? I'm like, are you kidding me? And I thought it was like, I'm like, okay, I better take another look at this song. So I went back at it. And I'm like, okay, it's fun. Let's see what people think of it.
Did you improve on it, or did it sound pretty much the way you did it in the beginning?
I changed a few things. I had some different lyrics that came to me later, 20 years later. I think the rolling doubles line. There's a line about rolling doubles. When you roll doubles 3 times, you go to jail.
Yeah.
I didn't have that back then 20 years ago. So when I revisited the song, I'm like, oh yeah, I want that in there.
Yeah, there's always, if anybody who's played that game Monopoly has, there are certain things that you'll always remember. The pieces, like you give a reference to the hat, you give a reference to jail, free parking. Pass go. Everybody says that, but you had a little tiny twist on that, and it's done very well. So this is a tip of my top hat, my aluminum top hat or whatever they make those things out of, to you for the songwriting process that you have. Like I said, it seems so easy for you, but you've been at this for a while, so you kind of know what feels good and how to put it into a poem and. Well,
not always. I mean, I try, but a lot of times if it's older and I revisit it, well, even the songs on the album, I haven't listened to the stuff since we did it, and that was, last year, before October. We recorded it, and then I stopped listening because I'm like, I don't want to get sick of my own stuff before I have to actually perform it.
I can understand.
So I stepped away from it, even playing it. I didn't want to like hear it at all. And I listened back at it just recently. I'm like, yeah, that's, I credit Dave, because Dave is, the one that really, polished it up. I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. I might listen to this myself.
Takes a special talent to be somebody like Dave. You got to give him a lot of credit. He's worked with a lot of different. He's working with some diverse artists over there at Blue Elon, and always seemed to know how to bring out the best in each one of those guys, no matter what genre they play in.
Yeah. Well, I should tell you, because I did the whole rock and roll scene, and I would sing like scratchy voice, like the I would be singing it all scratchy, and Dave would kind of rein me down. He's like, no, just sing it like a normal, no rasp, you don't need it right here. Like, he was very good vocally. I wasn't used to having that, but I liked it.
Okay, so did you resist in the beginning, or did you have to go? Okay, I'm going to listen. He's only trying to help. He knows what he's doing. Let me give it a try.
If it was a bad idea, I probably would have resisted. But I came in open-minded. And the other good thing about the album is I didn't have, like, anytime we recorded something before with the band, we would rehearse the song over and over in a studio. And then we'd go in the studio and record it down and get it down. These tracks here, I wrote it in my bedroom and just sent over a very bare-boned guitar, vocal, piano vocal version to Dave. And so I didn't have an envision of what it was going to sound like at the end. So, I wasn't locked into just one specific idea. So when he said, we're going to try this, like, hey, sounds great.
Yeah. You sort of touched on something I would have asked you earlier. It was, how did you usually document your song ideas? Did you have a tape recorder that you would play your piano and sing something if you had a good idea and then you put it away?
Well, now it's my phone.
Now it's your phone, but is that how you would usually do it? Phone, or however you wanted to do it, so that you can go back and listen to it later, how you sang it, how you played it?
Mostly it was a melody for me. Like, if it was a good melody, sometimes I'd forget the melody. I'm like, what the hell was that melody again? I gotta and then if I have it on the phone, I listen back at it. And if it's still good, a little later, I'm like, okay, I want to put some lyrics on that.
Yeah. One of the things I like is that I like talking to people. See, that's where we made differences. I'm too much of a perfectionist. I would do something like that, and then I would always try to add something because I like to add more instruments. I wanted to try to flesh it out like Sting. I wanted to try to flesh out the entire song so that all the other, the other bandmates or Stuart and Andy can get in there and they play. And have you ever heard on the internet, they play a lot of old demos from the Police from 1980 and 81. And there was they called them the lost demos, and you listen to this stuff and it's all stuff that he did on his own. Right. And it almost sounds like what the album sounded like later on, just a heavier production style. And it's like, wow. So this guy had in his head exactly what it was going to sound like. Yeah. That's what mine do. But I go back and listen to some of the demos that I still have buried that nobody's heard yet, because that's what you can do on the internet. You can put it out there. So now maybe instead of just my ears and my wife's ears, I can put it out there. Maybe 2 other people will hear it on the internet.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're from the old GarageBand days. Remember GarageBand.com?
Oh yeah,
I think you were on that.
Yeah,
I love that. That was great. I love that.
As a matter of fact, I lost a couple of songs on my computer. So I said, you know what? I go back to GarageBand. GarageBand disappeared.
It's gone.
And they took the songs with them. I think it was
that and MySpace.
I don't know if they were connected with MySpace. I said they went down the same hole MySpace went to. So yeah, that's a weird thing about the internet, but hey, there's a lot of
things have changed. I don't even know where. There's like TikTok now. I can't follow it all. I can't do it all.
Oh yeah.
I do like Instagram though. I really like Instagram. Photos and videos and
exactly.
And I haven't accumulated as many followers as Facebook or Twitter. But I don't even know how to tweet. And like I with a couple people on the label, like Jackie, who I did a duet with, we were friends. I text her. I'm like, Jackie, how do I text? How do I tweet? What is this tweeting? Because she's young, she's very sweet. I'm like, how do I do a story on Instagram?
Yeah.
I don't know what these do. What's a reel? I don't know.
I'm not good at Twitter, but I think I've got it figured out. Think of something nice to say and just do the opposite. Don't put any nice stuff up there, because it's always mean stuff. Or, you here's a picture of a tree in my backyard, and they'll just sit there and shoot you down like what kind of tree is it? That's stupid. A picture of a tree. What, are you an idiot? Yeah. And then people say, yeah, he is. Everybody dog piles on you. So it's like a dumpster fire that I don't kind of like go back and forth. If I want a little punishment, I'll go in there and read it. Yeah.
Well, I'm still trying to figure it all out. I think we all are, but
this is great. So I've talked a little bit about how great your lyrics are, but it's that's production style. Did you all get into a room when you recorded a lot of these things and do it all at once? A live record?
Some of it was, yeah. Oh boy. I mean, I'd say about 65-70% of it was, I sent the stuff to Dave, and then he booked studio time at a studio, and the musicians showed up, and these were like real pro guys, the same drummer who played on Alanis Morissette's album. And, they were amazing. Was
amazing. He on all those tracks, the drummer that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great. My kudos. Not too much, not too little. He did some great fills that were just very not overdoing it.
Boy, he did incredible too. I remember talking to him too, as a, after the session, I'm like, listen, I got to tell you, for someone who's a songwriter, you are an incredible drummer, because you're not sitting there, I'm not saying drummers are the enemy of a songwriter, but it's when you're trying to sing and get the song across, and you got some guys twirling sticks and flaring hair around, he doesn't do that. I mean, he could, but he listened to the song and he played what I thought was appropriate for the song. He never overplayed. It was very complimentary. He's like, listen, if it just requires this to the whole song, that's all I'm going to play.
Yeah. Some of these flashy drummers, they have their place, but they don't have to be everywhere. And sometimes, sometimes it can ruin it if there's too much of it. So that was good what he did. But what was your role in the recording? Were you just, did you get on the mic later on, or were you singing at the same time everybody's playing? Like, did you get in front of a piano and play and sing
I did.
at the same time?
I did that. I was singing
Sounds
at the
natural.
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to make it feel, right. And then we redubbed the vocals afterwards to make a track, but just to make it sound like an actual band playing. And,
some of these things are very theatrical and very elaborate, like Clowns in the Driver's Seat had a great cinematic sound to it. And I loved that one because there you go again with the, you had a theme going and you kept on
There's
with
a
it.
theme.
Yeah. And you didn't deviate from the theme very much. I thought it was, that's what I'm all about, because I would get off track. I'd go from the, you're talking about, I'm doing tricks right in front of your eyes. Then I would all of a sudden start the driver's seat. And then I start talking about the car, and I said, no, go back to the magician or whatever you were talking. Yeah, it's great. Great theme. I thought it was. It's done very well.
Dave told me, he's like, I'm going to steal that line, that catch a bullet with my teeth. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's cool.
That's the tricky thing that's a good secret sauce. If you can have just one or two great lines in it, that just makes the song. Then the rest of it, if the other parts are lukewarm, at least you got those great lines in there you remember that. You remember that bullet catching in the teeth line. So.
Yeah, I had a really good time writing that song. I mean, it was fun and it was like painting it. I really enjoyed lyrically putting that together.
And in this magic show, I haven't vanished yet. There's nothing in my hat, you see. Watch me set the rabbit free. Watch me saw the girl in half. Catch a bullet in my teeth. Make human cannonballs of me. Up on a wire without a net. And in this three-ring show, gotta keep them coming back. All smoking wives you see out in the circus scene. Fools always have your back.
You were talking about your raspy voice. Let me talk about the voices real quick. Are you doing all the backgrounds, harmonies and everything?
Well, I'd say most of it, yeah. If you hear Dave did a couple of things, but mostly I harmonize with myself. Bernie Bartlow is on there. She sang with like Sarah McLachlan. So all those songs you hear,
so you got a female, and okay, that helps.
If you hear the female voice, that's all Bernie. I think Brie Darling sang background on a couple.
Oh, nice.
Couple things. Yeah, it was. There's a whole. I put up a track list on my website. Since we're not doing CDs now, we're doing it's all digital now. But so I made sure that I have like a written track list of who did what and where, and give people credit for the amazing job they did.
Yeah. First of all, compliments on your voice. You were talking about how Dave sometimes would tell you to just sort of like keep it natural. Oh, yeah. Don't try to get ahead of yourself with the rasp or whatever. Like maybe.
Yeah, but sometimes he let me cut loose a couple of times. He's like, "Yeah, just go for it." And it's like, I'm like, okay.
I don't know if it was like God's Waiting Room or Devil's Waiting Room.
That was it. Whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's my twist and shout. It's a song. I got to do it last because there's no way I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. That's a closer type of.
Yeah, it's got to be a closer. I just can't. I couldn't perform it live without.
Oh, I'm glad you had one where you cut loose because not that the other ones weren't great on their own. Is because a lot of this stuff is sort of medium tempo, and but not everything sounds the same. You got a nice little mix.
I was a little worried about that song too because it could be a little country, it could be a little roadhouse type song, but then Dave's like, listen, look at Jim Croce. He's like, Jim Croce had Bad Leroy Brown on Time in a Bottle. He's like, it's a mix of a little bit of everything. So when he put it that way, I'm like, okay, that fits now. Okay.
But there you go. There's another one that's sort of autobiographical, right? And just another one where it's.
Oh yeah, that was a complete story of leaving Los Angeles, and it was basically a midnight train to Georgia, but getting out of LA. You know what I mean?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Yeah. So guys, if you want to listen to a sort of poetic story of Bob's life, go to that track right there, God's Waiting Room. Among some of the other ones, he gives hints on some of the other ones too. But
yeah.
But it's nice
that when I first came to Palm Springs, they said, "Oh, you're moving to God's Waiting Room because people come here to retire and come here to die." I'm like, well, not always, but we got great health here.
What's the other one? That's Life, or one of the ones that was like this coming to the end, or this is the end.
Oh, That Life. It's called That Life.
That Life. Yeah, that was another one. I said, "Wow, here we go." That Bob's got this existential one. What's that?
Yeah,
Dave?
well, that was. He tricked me on that because Dave is he's like an old director who like tries to have all I don't want to give away his tricks, what he does, but
believe me, I would love to talk to him. How many times have I asked for this guy? Maybe the last 6 or 7 years. I keep saying, get Dave on here, please. So I can tell him he's got a story himself, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's just a great guy. And his guitar solo on that was a one take in studio guitar solo. Like, sometimes you would record it in the studio and then get back and overdub it. He played it in one take. I'm like, no, man, that's the solo right there. I just love that solo. Don't change a thing.
Which one is that? Is that the one where
on That Life?
Great.
Yeah, that solo just.
So now you've spilled the beans. That's Dave doing that guitar. So
that's Dave. Yeah. Oh man, I can't solo. I can play a chord. I play all the chords. I can write all the melodies. But
it's not even just one note. It's all melodic and it has he's doing chords.
It kind of reminds me of like a Bob Seger song, like like that guitar of you're just walking down this highway, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a vibe I get.
It is great. It is great. So,
I love that solo.
myself again, recognize a man. It's not too old to dig back up, not too old to dig back up. And when the road just feels too tough, start again.
I should have warned you. Be prepared for your posterior to be kissed a lot, because this is fantastic stuff. I don't get that excited. I don't get to the point where I like listen to some album that was, but because I know you, but I am one of these guys that's rooting for you because I just love your story. That you moved to Palm Springs and you pretty much put this to rest, and you really didn't think you were going to go back to this life that you're, another chapter.
That was that life. I gave up on that life. It's a line from the song. It was a whole moment of, just not knowing, hey, what was it all worth? I spent 40 years doing something and working hard on it. And now I've got a new career and doing something else. And, my friends here, they didn't even know I did music, because I never introduced myself as that. I never talked about it. And, when things are resurfacing or when they kind of popped up, they're like, that's you, that you did that. Wait a minute. This is your old video,
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, how did Kirk Passage know about you? If, cause that's how he basically discovered you because he knew about you, right?
Yeah. I guess he was a fan of some old stuff. I don't know. I really, honestly, when I got a message through Facebook from Kirk, and it was literally like, I get messages from people and I think, oh, it must be an old fan or something. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, do you have any new music? And I just said, well, and at the time I did, I was still writing. And I just passed along a song, and he's like, well, I have a label and I think we should talk. And I'm like, so I didn't know. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Yeah. I suddenly Googled. I'm like, oh yeah, he's like, this guy's legit.
Yeah. You're looking at some of the artists. This guy's for real. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second thing I thought, I'm like, oh, what's this going to cost me? Where's the scam? Well, I'm always skeptical,
But that's healthy. You should be. You actually should be. But, because there are some things.
There's a lot.
Not that the writing's not on the wall. Sometimes you can tell that they're being cheap, but some people have a trusting heart and they think, well, I'll take a chance, and then they get ripped off. But it's tough. It's a tough little thing, isn't it? This business.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that he's for real, and he did you a solid. He got you going here.
Yeah. No, I'm so grateful. I really am. I just changed my direction. It made me realize how much I'd missed it, and it gave me a reason to do it again. I remember. I always wrote for myself, no matter what, even if I'm just playing in the bedroom. But when you're writing and no one's listening, and you're not playing it for people, then you start to wonder, why am I doing this? Who's this for? Is this for me? Okay. But in the end, as a writer, you want people to hear what you've written. That's, even if they hate it, I want to listen to it.
I believe it will happen now. We went to great lengths to get this done, and I think it was a worthwhile effort. At least you got one big fan that's going to listen to your next one. Let's get some mileage out of this one. But I think you got some more music in you out when this has run its course. When the moment hits you that you're going to create something again, I'm there for you.
It's been going good. We've done like a desert concert. I got to play with Poco.
Nice,
since Rusty Young just passed away not too long ago, and the band, Kirk flew everyone out, the band, to do a tribute to Poco, and I got to do one of his songs, and play with the band. It was incredible. I never thought I'd be doing this stuff.
That almost hurts a little bit because, Rusty, you mentioned a couple, but you mentioned Bree Darling earlier. I haven't talked to her yet. Rusty Young, fantastic. And speaking of Poco, when I was thinking about, back to what your vocals were, Now, just understand that when I make references to other people, I'm giving you a compliment in the highest order. That like for God's Waiting Room, it's almost like Tom Petty meets Dave Edmunds meets some other like rockers. That it's almost like a little honky tonk Roadhouse thing or whatever.
Yeah,
so I thought that was great because it's not like you're putting on a new voice, but it's like, hey, now I'm going to put on a different coat and I assume the personality, so that.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, honestly, that's my soul is in rock. I love singing and rasping out, especially live.
Yeah.
And I like to put a little rasp on things if I can. Sometimes a little too much.
Well, that's your choice. I mean, if like you said, save it for the last of the set, your encore or your last song, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah,
it's really good.
If you listen to some of the tracks, like even Monopoly, I'm rasping out. Like, do you want to share boardwalks fun with me? I'm trying to put some rasp in there. So
you don't mind doing a quick demonstration when you go that one line right there, because that's sort of the secret sauce.
I don't know how well it'll pick up because I'm doing the earbuds. So that I don't know how well I can say.
That's the basic thing. But yeah, once you get to that part where you said, "Do you want to share boardwalks fun with me?" Then you get that. Then you hit that chord.
Do you think I can change? Do you think I'm the one? Do you want to share boardwalks fun with me through your Monopoly?
Yeah.
It's kind of a little kiddie thing.
But that's nice. See, you think you know what the progression of the song is until you start to go like boardwalks fun with me, and then you go to that chord, and then go back up. So I don't know if that's something that you think hard. Like how can I change this up, or does it just come naturally? Yeah, because when you
some songs,
go ahead.
For me, some songs on piano, like if I write it on piano, I get a different song than a guitar song. The other tracks on guitar are just it's not because like Monopoly was written on piano.
It almost sounds like it couldn't have been written any other way. It has to be a piano song.
Yeah, Lonesome was written on guitar.
Even the drummer doing that little, it almost sounded like you had a metronome on the top of the piano going.
Yeah, it was a squeeze box.
Talking about squeeze box, didn't you have one that was the little things there was like a little concertina sound or something like that? Yeah, that's kind of nice too.
That was
I think the little things is another one that sounded like, oh, you know what? That's the reason I keep mentioning your vocals, because not that you change them, but I like how you assume, you say raspy, but you still have sort of a smooth delivery. That's the way I always did mine. I wish I could rock out more, but mine sounds a little too smooth and honey like. It's weird. You get older, your voice improves, but then the stamina goes away. You can't hold the control as much. So.
Yeah, my pitch is different now. I have to 2.5 step down on my guitar, and then I put a capo on one, and it's like in case I'm playing something like, this is a little too high, just take the capo off.
Did you ever have to play with a different key to see which one you could sing in and then stick with that?
Oh, yeah. In fact, that was part of the whole process working with Dave. I'd send him the song, and I always had it in the wrong key. He's like, listen, make it 3 steps down and send it back to me. So I'd re-sing it and send it back. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's much better.
It's weird how that when you change the key, maybe 3 steps up or 3 steps down or whatever you choose, it could change the personality of the song. I mean,
change the whole, sometimes change for the worse, sometimes for the better.
Well, I've had stuff in my head, Bob, that I see. I would hear stuff in my head. That's the way I would come up with the stuff, and then try to find the nearest instrument or just speak it into my head. So that's how I would do it. And sometimes it sounded so much better in my head, but when I would try to play it, it sounded much better in a different key. So I was like, oh, shoot, it didn't sound right. So I said, that's where I need some extra input. Maybe I can get another musician to come here and play with me. And that's where my buddy would come in and we'd start jamming like that.
Well, some of this vocal tracks, like I think on Lonesome, it's actually kind of a yodel. Don't be lonesome. And you can't get that vocally if it's in the wrong key.
That's true. You might hit
it just doesn't work. Cause if you're singing, don't be, I don't know what key I'm playing it in, but it's it just doesn't work in certain keys. So it has to be able to pop into that falsetto.
Unless you're classically trained and this is what you do, you practice like for 6 hours doing this. It's, it's hard. You best stick with one key because it's almost like your vocal cords are trained to go that direction. You want to go up higher. You're not going to hit it properly. You'll strain that one note.
I try, but as I've gotten older, my higher range is, has faded.
I believe that you sound naturally like this, but is there whatever effect he's putting on your voice? This is the kind of stuff I get jealous of. Either there's sort of a doubling effect on there because I love being able to do. I guess still jealous of that sound that you have when you do. Yeah,
I like doing it too. In fact, he's like, he had to make me not double some of them. No, we're not doubling the vocals here.
No,
can we double them, please?
Would you normally double? Do it naturally, do it and dub another vocal in, or does he have a way of doing it?
Yeah, I like I try to get a regular bass track that works, and then try to double that. But I love singing with yourself. You can't beat that.
I love to fill in the missing pieces too. I literally sing along with certain albums that I like, and yours is good. But I'll usually sing like a third below in certain chords. Like on Lonesome, I've done that on Lonesome because you'll go up and then you won't be harmonizing with yourself. You just keep it one up there. And I said, okay, well, let me just quietly sing with Bob, even though he doesn't know I'm doing it.
There's on that song, the background vocals remind me of Crosby, Stills and Nash kind of thing.
Which one?
I don't remember which on Lonesome.
On Lonesome?
It's I have to think of the song in my head.
The song "Look About You." You got that "Look About You"?
Oh yeah.
I like the harmony on that one too. That sounded a little like Crosby, Stills, Nash, or Poco, or Orleans. Some of those. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember Orleans.
Go ahead. You were going to do something with the guitar because you were going to explain something.
I don't even remember what the background vocals were. I'd have to have everything you want, but for a price. Read the fine print once or twice. Know the things you do in life have a consequence sometimes. But I have to go ahead because I'm trying to do the other part, but it's
well, you win. You got all the lyrics right. So that's great.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know my lyrics, but the background parts, I'm not used to singing the background parts.
Yeah.
So when I hear it, I'm like, I'm singing that part now because I like that part. I want to be a background singer.
You did very well on a lot of these. Yeah, some of these are a little bit intricate, the backgrounds. Did you have all that stuff worked out yourself, or did Dave kind of say, hey, try to
it was a mix of
maybe not
both.
do it there, let's try to do it this, because some of it you layered pretty well in there.
Yeah, it was a mix of both. He tried, we tried different things. Sometimes it was a little too much and he took it out. I think it was the Look About You song. We had so many vocals layered on that. And it was maybe it was too much. He took some out. So
yeah, it's
kind of fun to hear a different remix of it with just vocals, like a CC, I'm not in love, those background vocals.
10cc, that was,
yeah, 10cc.
I was telling my wife about that. Now, I don't even know if I have the story right, because I've always known this story for years, that those guys, Godley and Cream, and then another guy that was in the room, they had a couple of ideas in their head, and something was wrong with their synthesizer, I guess, at the time. 1975, 73. I don't know when that came out.
I don't know.
74, in that era, song. Right? And so for that time, I think they somehow knew what Richard Carpenter did with the Carpenters, and he would because he had those airy vocals that he would take 5 people in a room and then he would double it. So you had 10 people, then 15 people, and it just kept on until it took on a life of its own. And I think that I'm Not in Love was one of those songs where it just
it's a whole wall.
Yeah, 152 strings, but it was all vocals in the room. So
yeah.
And maybe I'm lying about that, but that's the way I remember it. So I'll stick to that story.
That's the way it feels. So, yeah. Yeah, so we did some of that. Not quite as many vocals, but we took them away. That was mostly Dave. You know, we'd try stuff, and I have a hard time with harmony. I'm sorry, let me get my earbuds in. I don't always hear a harmony because I'm a melody guy. Like I want to sing the melody.
Yeah.
So unless I hear the harmony, if someone says this is the harmony, I can't always do it. I don't. That's, you know, you hear a Beatles song and they're harmonizing, or the Everly Brothers, and it's just unison harmony. I have a hard time picking out those harmonies.
Yeah.
So Dave gave me some help.
I can see how you did that. Lonesome was one of those examples because you were doing some, even when you get up to you get up to the falsetto part, and it's like that naturally you're singing the same melody except you went up higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet it works like
falsetto.
that. I do. I like that one too. So that's a good one to start it out, because that's one that that'll draw you in. And next thing you know, you hear One Lucky Guy. You know, whatever the track order, whoever decided that knew what he was talking about. If it was Bob,
Kirk did. He sequenced the whole thing.
Oh, great! He's good.
Yeah, I know.
A DJ at heart, they say. Yeah,
he is, man. He's a guy who's just like a music maestro. I mean, he knows. He's just a fan of music, you know. I mean, I love music, but this guy is just like a fan of all genres of music. I mean, I look at his playlist and I'm like, you know, there's a song I wouldn't think that this is a song that he would like, you know. Then you listen to it and like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, he was there when he's a lot older than we are. So no, I'm just kidding about lot, but I mean, these are things when I was 8 or 9, listening to a lot of stuff, you know, like Lobo. He just did the whole thing on Lobo, and I go, I remember all those songs, you know, even the one that his last hit, Where Were You When I Was Falling in Love? That was 1980. So, you know, and that was about the time where they go, well, that was about it. No more Lobo. And I think he stopped
I love
having
Lobo.
hits.
Love you too much to ever stop liking you. Whatever that,
Be your friend. Yeah, all these things are great. You know?
He's on your mind. Well, I'm the invisible love-giving guide to your heart that's blind. I'm a ghost half the time. He doesn't know he's one lucky guy, 'cause you hear what he says. Well, I'm at the top of my lungs, my last breath. Well, your heart is deaf most of the time. He doesn't know he's one lucky guy, one lucky bloke. What I wouldn't trade to have and to hold. One lucky guy. He doesn't know the ones you love best can hurt you the most. He doesn't care. Seems like he walks by you like you're not there, and treats you unfair and acts so unkind. He doesn't know he's one lucky guy, but you do what he says. If he says jump, you say how high, and yes, you choose to forget, or you just let it slide. He doesn't know he's one lucky guy, one lucky bloke. What I wouldn't trade to have and to hold. One lucky guy. He doesn't know the ones you love best can hurt you the most. He doesn't care, and if you're falling, well, I would be there to catch you in time and help you decide. He doesn't know he's one lucky guy. I'd love you so if you were mine. He'll never know till you say goodbye.
Yeah, I miss that those singer songwriters of the '70s, and
they get lumped in with some of the other ones that they made fun of, like Terry Jack's "Season in the Sun," or they had
the one hit wonders.
Me and You and a Dog Named Boo, and all. They always want to go back to the real kitsch stuff, and then they forget how some of this other pop music at the time was really it struck a nerve with a lot of people. So I still remember that stuff very fondly, all the Lobo stuff. But.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on it. Like I said, the good thing about being older, at least I have some experience and knowledge of areas of music that. It's actually a bad thing too, because I remember when I was at the end of the last chapter, I was playing at the Greek Theater, and I was playing for bands like I opened up for Heart, I opened up for Pat Benatar, and I opened up for Ringo, and I remember, working in my day job at the time because music was not paying, and there was someone I was saying, "Hey, I'm playing for the Bangles tonight," and they didn't know who they were. Like, what are you listening to? What, you've never heard of Heart? I'm like, I don't know. What do you listen to? They were young.
What year is, so I can reference what year we're talking about, or what era?
Oh, it was 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Oh, okay. So so all these were established artists that were playing
concerts. They were kind of doing
concerts for the people who bought their records way back when. Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, that's great.
I'm like, there's a girl at the bank. I'm like, I'm trying to impress you with, hey, I'm playing for, who was it? REO Speedwagon. I opened up for that. She didn't know who that was. I'm like, oh, come on. Really? What do you?
This is just to jump in with another one of my things, since you're telling your story and I have to go and share the same thing. Thomas Dolby. So I was at my day job. It was a couple of years ago. And this woman, I assume she's my age. So I said, yeah, I just interviewed Thomas Dolby. It was a very short, I was going to explain to her the extent of and the circumstances why I got to talk to him. And she goes, I don't know who that is. And I go, Thomas, I said the obvious one. She blinded me with science. I figured everybody knew that one. You hear it in commercials or whatever, right? No. I go, you're kidding me. Yeah. But she knew.
And he's like later, like he was like 80s, right? I mean,
yeah. And some people only know him for that one song. It's like, like Aha, they only know Take On Me, right? Certain ones, a lot of these bands from the 80s, they had more than one hit. Wang Chung, what do people remember from Wang Chung? Maybe one or two songs, yet they must have had 10 top 40 hits, Strange.
It's anyway, weird like that, because you're
impressing
like,
people is tough.
What are you listening to? I don't know. I mean, I was blown away. And then, when they told me what they listened to, I just didn't know who that was. So now I know how they felt.
Well, I figured my kids' age, they a lot of this stuff, comes full circle, and they get into 70s and 80s music, especially when they're now in, with the advent of a show like Glee, or you have every soundtrack now from superhero movies got this, like Guardians of the Galaxy. So that now they're introduced to all this,
like Journey and stuff. Yeah.
And then they'll say, "Oh, Journey, oh yeah." And they don't remember the Steve Perry years. They go, "Oh yeah, the guy with the the Arno Pineda, the Filipino guy, yeah." No. Or Queen. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love Adam Lambert. How come I didn't see him in the movies? I think you did in that Bohemian Rhapsody. I think he
was there. He had a
cameo in there. Yeah.
Oh, that was a Journey film.
Oh, Journey was big time. Same with Van Halen. I just had a guest. We were talking about Van Halen, and he was like a big fan of the Sammy Hagar years. And I remember when that was that tore a rift in the what was it, 85, 86, when
I like some of his stuff. I mean, I like
them both. Both had their place.
Different.
Sometimes they can outlive their reputation. You got to almost like listen to the old stuff and just stay in the past, because then you start to hear them talk about each other, and it ruins the illusion that it was all, and David Lee Roth is constantly he's being memed on Facebook all the time. This David Lee Roth turns into Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. He turned.
I've seen that one. Yeah, I have seen that one.
But I'm telling you, it depends on who you are, but they'll tear you up on the internet, if you're not careful.
They certainly will. I feel bad for Paul. They were calling him a grandmother. I'm like, what?
That's
Paul
true.
But I don't know. Poor Paul.
Yeah, he's still the coolest, and he doesn't have the GAF, if you know what I'm saying. He can do whatever he wants, one more compliment about your voice, because it does sort of take on the shape you decide. And I sort of gave you a compliment last time saying that 20 to Life was like a Duncan Sheik type of delivery, and I always thought that was good. And I'm talking about Barely Breathing Duncan Sheik, not the other stuff.
I am barely breathing.
Yeah, and and that was like how Simple Minds didn't they thought the Breakfast Club Don't You Forget About Me, that's the one they hated the most, and yet that's their most popular thing. I think Duncan Sheik said he didn't like Barely Breathing. He said, why doesn't everybody listen to my other stuff? Because that wasn't on the radio.
Yeah. Oh, he had another song called Half Life. I really like that one.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah,
it's a great song.
No, but I thought that was that was one of those ones that I was jealous because he had that guitar in the background that was sort of like you're talking like sort of like that Bob Seger thing going in the back, but back to the compliment. I didn't get to the compliment part yet. Like on the little things, you had that Gilbert O'Sullivan type of delivery. And I wanted to give you that compliment. I didn't want you to be insulted by that, because I thought that was great, because I sing along with his stuff, like Claire and Get Down. Those songs that he used to do back then. Yeah.
I know the big one, Alone Again,
naturally, absolutely. Yeah. And he had a little, and those were existential ones too. Like, if you break that down, you go like, what is he singing about? And plus the other one, Claire, I think he was singing about a young underage girl. So you got to be careful all the time with these. You say, oh, back in my day it was better.
Yeah. What did he say? I promised myself to treat myself and visit a nearby tower. Climbing to the top, I throw myself off.
Yeah. That was the one. Alone Again.
Brilliant. I love it.
When he passed away, I cried all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying the way you sang the little things reminded me of that, and I said that's a good thing, because I wouldn't be telling you that's great if I didn't. If I didn't revere the way he sounded too. So, because this is good quality material, it really should be heard. So I hope there's a good plan in place, with Kirk and all these guys to. Because
I hope so too.
I don't know how you do it nowadays. It's really hard to get a good.
I don't know either.
What do you call it? A good campaign going to get it on the charts. But you could do that. The other artists on that label have been, they've been getting on whatever that adult contemporary, whatever they call on that particular chart.
Americana, that's a big one.
Oh yeah. I've said this. I've said forever about Americana. It's like anybody can go into that one. Whether you're folk or you're rhythm and blues, depends on what it sounds like, and we can all. It's a catch-all phrase, that Americana.
Yeah, well, I've got an interview tomorrow, and it's an Americana thing. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I fall into that too, which is it's good. I mean, I don't really know what it is. It's just like American.
I've said that outright to all these Americana artists, and they almost agree. It says, yeah, well, we have so many influences. We have our influences are Aerosmith and Metallica and Tool and like that, and yet we're playing like country with fiddles and like the Cowboy Junkies type of stuff.
I don't know what it is. I
grunge
think
country
I
stuff.
I mean, I'm American, and it's kind of folk, and it's kind of singer songwriter.
It is cool. So anyway, this is I'm glad that you didn't take a lot of this old material and just throw it on the album. You had the 5 songs from before, and then you had some. This is just a continuation. This is actually. So you need to get them both. So it's nice, not like, oh well, I've already heard this other one on the EP. No, you get to hear all this. So
the Back on the Horse and this are basically the same. They're the same album. In fact, I thought I kind of assumed that the Back on the Horse title was going to be the album title because the song, I took it from the song Lonesome, which right back on the horse, it's an actual line from the song. And I thought, oh, I'll just take it from that. And then Lonesome got put on the album, but not on the EP. So it kind of looks like I wrote the song after the EP, and it's not the case. It's not.
Yeah, your line with the horse in it, get back on the horse when it comes in last. That's a nice, that's almost a nice callback to the old song. And I go, good, he put a horse in there. And
but I didn't plan. I mean, it was written before, so it just kind of, like, what do you want to call the EP? And I'm like, Back on the Horse. And I kind of thought the Lonesome would be on the EP.
Yeah.
So it would have made a little more sense, but But now it still works because, it's.
Yeah, there are no strict rules, I'm sure. That's good.
Yeah.
You got to have some order into it, but it's Christmas in July. Maybe I can use this as a clip later on when it gets to be Christmas, because Christmas in July is something that sort of was taken out.
Well, Christmas in July was actually the label was doing a Christmas thing, and a lot of people were doing Christmas covers. And I said, I'd like to do it, but I just like to try to write a Christmas song. I've never tried to write a Christmas song. So, that's a tough thing to do. That seems, legit. That's an actual Christmas song. And I just wrote it from, maybe it's white Christmassy because, being here in Palm Springs and being around at Christmas time, it's just not the same. Even California. I mean, when you're in an area without snow, without, Jack Frost nipping at your nose or whatever, you're missing that element of that holiday. That's kind of where the song came from. So I was just thinking, being a kid, and my Christmas is now it feels like it's Christmas in July. It feels like it's 90 degrees outside. How can this be? There's a palm tree there. Where's the, that's what it's on. So when I did the show for the label, I decided to try to write a song, and it was right in the middle of COVID. We were all wearing masks. There's a video for it.
Right.
You could see we're all in separate rooms.
I remember it was a live stream. Everybody was getting a little, it was a variety of all the artists on the label doing a different Christmas tune.
Yeah.
And that was
some people were drinking a lot of wine. Not me.
That was the COVID thing. 2020 was the year of, drunk and other consumables, shall we say.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened that.
Yeah. Mine was Billy.
Me too.
Yeah. Fast food and Grubhub. Put a filter on me. Would you put a nice filter on me? Make me look nice and thin. And
right.
I'll try to get the camera down, looking up.
Hashtag no filters, I thought. But okay, we'll put a filter on you.
Snow is falling in the place where I grew up. That's where all my Christmas memories stay. Salt the roads and watch our cars begin to rust. The seasons changed, I moved away. Now it's Christmas in July, and it's summer all the time. It's a holiday, everything's green. But I miss you in my life. On another silent night, I'll sing. It brings me back home like a child on Christmas Eve. We wrap our presents, drink hot chocolate from a mug, and hang our stockings near the tree. Early Christmas mornings we would all wake up. It seems these days I oversleep. Like it's Christmas in July, and it's summer all the time. It's a holiday, everything's green. But I miss you in my life. On another Saturday night I'll sing. It brings me back home like a child on Christmas Eve. Let it snow now. What seasons bring? I'm not home now, but I can dream. Christmas in July, and it's summer all the time. It's a holiday, everything's green. But I miss you Christmas Eve. It's a holiday, everything's green, but I miss you in my life on another silent night. I'll sing, 'cause it brings me back home like a child on Christmas Eve.
Listen, I'm proud of every wrinkle I got. My hair's turning silvery, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you share that in one of those songs too. You know that I don't know if it was God's Waiting Room or one of those.
Yeah.
That yeah. So yeah, be proud of what you've done. I mean, I've seen those pictures of you when you were in your younger days. You strive for I wish I still looked like that, and then I go, well, I earned the way I look. You know, I got a lot of stress lines, and my face has changed, and I lost my vision and part of my hearing and everything like that. But I guess, and I got a lot of aches and pains I didn't have at 40. So
the aches and pains, I'm feeling that.
That's a tough thing, but you're driven, I think. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made such a great piece of art here.
I just hope people listen to it. That's really the main thing. I mean, when I was approached to do it again, it really sparked a fire to write more. And it made me want to keep doing it. And if I know people are paying attention, or even if it's just a handful of people who pay attention, who really love it, you know, it makes me want to do more, you know? Yeah.
I'm glad that Kirk knew of you and thought more to pursue that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm almost picturing that. I'm almost picturing him in his room and somebody slipping a CD under there that said, "Here, listen to this, signed Peanut." You figured that Cindy was your arch enemy that decided to.
I didn't know. I mean, God, back in those times, there wasn't social media back then. It was all MySpace, blogs. I did a lot of blogging. I had a blog going, and I used to write every day, and I think I had like 1,000 readers a day, because there wasn't social media, and people were just like looking for internet stuff to watch and read. So that was
everybody had a website, and blogs were pretty popular to use like that. Yeah, look for me on GeoCities or whatever that was back then.
Yeah, well, the good news about being older too is I've grabbed my name. Like, I mean, I have Bob Gentry Twitter, Bob Gentry Gmail, Bob Gentry, every social media site that there is. So far I've been able to snag my own name, which is
good. Yeah.
.com. I mean, there's a million Bob Gentrys out there. You know?
Well, were you ever known as Bobby Gentry, like the country singer?
Yeah. When I was a kid, they called me Bobby.
Yeah.
And that's how I know who knows me the longest. If someone says Bobby, I know they knew me from when I was a kid.
No, that's good. Yeah. You were mentioning Bandcamp before. I am thinking about back those days when I do miss that Bandcamp, because there was mp3.com and some of these other
GarageBand.
GarageBand. Sorry. Did I say Bandcamp? I meant GarageBand. I apologize. Yeah. Because GarageBand was great, because the stuff I would put up there, we would just have these, these very highly produced demos that we did ourselves of, and I was singing on almost everything. And my buddy was doing all these great solos, and our biggest fans were in other countries, like in Denmark. We were getting all these great praise, you know? And I said, I wish I knew enough to save that stuff, because some of it I tried to, but I can't find that anywhere. I think I put them on floppy disks, and now I can't get those to.
and tough critics on that, because they were all other musicians. It wasn't just like everyday people listening. It was people who were musicians giving you critiques, and
these were musicians. I listened to their stuff, and they said these are good. These are good musicians too. And I said, thank you. I really appreciate that. It got me to enter a couple of those contests. Not the one not that show you went on, but I mean, how they would have these Song of the Year things, and I got I won 2, and I got I never won the big prize, but I got a lot of praise for some of these, and I said, at least I know my stuff was good enough that other people, like Dave Grohl was supposed to have said some, Sting, Steven Tyler, Katy Perry said, "Oh yeah, sure." I'm sure any of them heard that, but somebody was giving me some great feedback, and I said, thank you. So I took that. Yeah, I took that as compliment.
That's good.
it's nice that you got something now that you're moving forward with this new chapter. I hope it goes well for you.
I am trying. I don't know what the future brings, but I'm going to see what happens and just see where it takes me. That's all I can do.
Rumors of your disappearance from the music business were highly exaggerated, I guess, because you you are.
I did disappear. I did disappear for 10 years.
I don't know the proper quote from The Godfather 3. Wasn't Al Pacino said that they just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in. Yeah.
That's it. That's completely it. I got no regrets. At
least you went in willingly. You had a good, like you said, you were skeptical, but I'm glad that you skeptical. Now I'm getting dry mouth here. So yeah, but like I said, I really was looking forward to talking with you, just catching up. And I said I was going to keep it short, but yet we talked for, I think, 6 hours and 20 minutes here. So
6 hours and 20 minutes.
So it's another marathon. It's almost like the last time we talked, but this. Well,
listen, it's not. I tell you one thing. It's not work to talk to you. I enjoy it.
I appreciate. Yeah, I'm the same way. I appreciate. I was really looking forward to this one. This has been fantastic. Thank you for sharing a little bit. I want to share some of this music for you. Thanks for, plunking on your guitar and then on your piano there.
Yeah. I'm sure it didn't sound great with
but that's the fault of phones. That some of this technology they have natural built-in noise gates, and they ruin the experience. But I try my best to open up the natural sound for you as much as I can. So I heard some of that, and it was the piano that was kind of like cutting out a little bit, but.
Yeah, well,
that's too bad because I like.
You're getting the vibration from the vocal.
Are you?
Yeah.
Thanks very much for sharing all this. So your album is called Fortune Favors. It's going to come out on September 10th. We're doing a little business here. BobGentry.com, BobGentry.com, BlueElon.com, BobGentry.com. Yeah. So you can be found in both places. Truth be told, I haven't looked on your site for a while, except to see if my interview is still up there, and it is.
Oh, I posted up. I keep all those up there. You're there. I have like a little press thing, make sure that all the press is in one spot. I still keep a blog, but it's not.
Yeah, hopefully I'm going to be impressing my friends. I talked to Bob Gentry. Who? Oh no.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about this guy.
The Tallahassee Bridge thing. I get that question all the time.
I'm going to close out the show, and I want to thank you so much, Bob. This has given me a new energy for the day. I'm going to be in a good mood. My wife's thanking you because I was really in a crabby mood when I got home from work, and
no baseball bats, right?
No baseball bats. Not to her.
Okay,
it's just that I get this every once in a while. I feel like I don't know what gets into me. I get such a hot head, and I want to go out and smash something in the backyard. And I
get it.
I said, should I just harness that energy and do something fun here? And best decision I ever made. You get holding on to that sanity, and it was worth it talking to you, Bob. So
me too. Well, I hope to do it again. I hope to see you sometime when I'm playing there. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be playing there.
I don't know. I don't know what the touring schedule is going to look for you, or what you'll be doing with this album. But you got my full support. Anything you need, you got me here. I'm your buddy. Yeah, I'm your buddy here.
You're a booking agent.
In your old stomping grounds in Orange County. What your once life.
Yeah.
So, thanks for spending all this time with me, and I'm going to let you go. Bob Gentry, everybody, his album, Fortune Favors, out September 10, 2021. If you're listening to this in the past, it's ready for you to purchase, and please buy about 10 copies and have your friends buy 10 more copies. Let's get this guy. We don't want this. We need this guy to eat. He needs some. He needs to put some.
I know. I'm
something on those bones. He's
losing it.
Anyway, I'm going to play you out. Bob Gentry, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Dean. I appreciate it.
Big old hand. Take care of yourself and have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.